The night was supposed to be perfect for Las Vegas. The banners were raised high above the court. The home crowd was buzzing with championship energy. And in the middle of it all stood A'ja Wilson, the league's crowned MVP, receiving her trophy under the brightest lights of the WNBA stage. This was meant to be her night, her stage, her coronation, not just as the most valuable player, but as the centerpiece of another championship run for the two-time defending champions. Every storyline, every prediction, and every headline leading into this series told the same story.
The Aces were supposed to cruise. The Indiana Fever were supposed to bow out quietly.
And Game 1 was supposed to be nothing more than a victory lap for Las Vegas. But sports have a cruel way of rewriting scripts, tearing apart predictions and creating nights that live on long after the lights go down. And on this night, while A'ja Wilson was smiling with her MVP trophy, the Indiana Fever were preparing to deliver the biggest shock of the season. For weeks, the Fever were dismissed as lucky. 6 players injured, rotations patched together with tape and hope. Analysts called them overachievers who had already done enough by simply making it this far. Odds makers set lines so lopsided that betting against them wasn't even worth the risk. To most, their season was already over before the ball was even tipped, but the players inside that Fever locker room didn't see it that way. They weren't staring at betting lines or listening to pregame shows. They weren't thinking about what ESPN panels had to say or what the odds were in Las Vegas casinos. They were thinking about one thing: respect. For years, the Indiana Fever have been overlooked, laughed at, or brushed aside. And for the first time in a decade, they had a chance to change the conversation. From the opening tip, it became clear that this wasn't going to be a coronation for Las Vegas. It was going to be a war. Kelsey Mitchell, a name that never gets the spotlight she deserves, walked into that arena like it was her moment and hers alone. For years, she's been one of the league's most dangerous scorers, yet always treated like an afterthought. Too often, the conversation skips past her as if her talent was something you could take for granted. But on this night, Mitchell refused to be ignored. The very first time she touched the ball, she attacked. No hesitation, no nerves, no sign that she was supposed to be intimidated by the defending champions. Mid-range pull-ups, deep threes, fearless drives into the lane. Mitchell hit Vegas from every angle. By halftime, she wasn't just scoring points, she was rewriting history. The numbers alone tell the story. 34 points, 12 made field goals, 4 three-pointers, a perfect night at the free throw line. No Indiana player had scored that many in a playoff game in over a decade, and no player in WNBA history had ever scored that much in their first semifinal game. Mitchell's performance wasn't just big, it was legendary. On the very night A'ja Wilson held the MVP trophy, Mitchell made sure people remembered that there was another superstar on the floor, and as Mitchell torched the Aces' defense possession after possession, her teammates fed off the energy. Odyssey Sims attacked the paint with reckless abandon, forcing Las Vegas into foul trouble and flipping the tempo. Natasha Howard controlled the glass, winning battles that the Aces usually dominate. Lexi Hull shadowed Jackie Young so relentlessly that the all-star guard barely found room to breathe. Brianna Turner's length made the paint a minefield, forcing missed shots and awkward angles. And at the heart of it all was Aaliyah Boston, tasked with the impossible job of guarding the newly crowned MVP. Boston's assignment was simple, but brutal. Make A'ja Wilson uncomfortable. Wilson still finished with 16 points and 13 rebounds, numbers that on paper look strong, but the rhythm was gone. Every shot was contested, every possession a grind. Boston didn't erase the MVP, but she made her work for every single basket, and in doing so, disrupted the engine that powers the entire Aces offense. For all of Las Vegas's firepower, Indiana was dictating the game. The Aces wanted to run, but Indiana slowed them down. The Aces wanted to own the paint, but Indiana outscored them inside 50-38. Every category that was supposed to belong to Las Vegas suddenly tilted toward the Fever. And by the time the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told the story nobody believed possible. Indiana Fever 89, Las Vegas Aces 73. The 6th seed had walked into the home of the defending champions on the night of their MVP celebration and walked out with a blowout win. The basketball world was stunned. Analysts who laughed at the idea of Indiana winning a single game were forced to admit they hadn't just stolen one, they had dominated. This wasn't a fluke, it wasn't luck, and it wasn't just a hot shooting night. It was a statement. And in the aftermath of that victory, one voice stood out. Caitlin Clark, sidelined by injury, wasn't even on the court, but she didn't need to be. Watching from the sidelines, she saw what Mitchell had done and what her teammates had proved. Her reaction? Just 2 simple words sent across social media. Kelsey, unreal. No long explanation. No breakdown. Just raw, unfiltered respect. Because sometimes greatness doesn't need to be explained. It just needs to be acknowledged. But while Game 1 was a triumph, it also set the stage for something bigger. Playoff basketball isn't about one game. It's about how you respond after the first punch is thrown. And the Aces are not just any opponent. They are champions, battle-tested, and they know exactly how to bounce back from early setbacks. History says that losing Game 1 doesn't always spell disaster. Nearly 30% of teams who lose the opener in a best-of-5 still go on to win the series. And Las Vegas knows this better than anyone. Aja Wilson isn't the type to stay quiet after being held down. Jackie Young won't allow herself to be shadowed so easily in back-to-back games. Becky Hammon, one of the coaches in the league, has seen Indiana's game plan now, and she'll spend every waking hour figuring out how to dismantle it. For Indiana, that raises the biggest question of all. Can they handle being the team in control? Winning as an underdog is one thing. Everyone expects you to lose, so when you win, the pressure isn't as heavy. But now they're not just underdogs, and they're with the upper hand. And with that comes a different kind of pressure. Can Mitchell repeat her masterpiece when the Aces throw traps and doubles at her? Can Boston frustrate Wilson for a second straight game? Can Indiana prove that Game 1 wasn't just a perfect storm, but a sign of something real? The truth is, this moment could define everything. If Indiana wins Game 2, they return home with a 2-game lead and a chance to close it out in front of their fans. At that point, they wouldn't just be underdogs with a fun upset. They'd be real contenders for the WNBA Finals. But if they lose, momentum resets. The Aces would smell blood, and suddenly the weight of the series shifts back toward the defending champs. This is where character is tested. For years, the Fever have been written off as irrelevant, as a team just trying to rebuild. But in this moment, they're more than that. They're a team that embodies resilience. 6 players injured, rotations shuffled, odds stacked higher than anyone thought possible. And yet, when the lights were brightest, they didn't just survive, they thrived. Coach Stephanie White summed it up perfectly after the game. We live the we over the me. And when you have that, it just gives you opportunities to do really special things. That philosophy isn't just a slogan. It's what defines this team. Every player, from the stars to the role players, buys into the same mission: to fight, to believe, and to never back down.